Hello, everyone, and welcome to the STL Tech Talk podcast. My name is JJ Hammond. We have another great show for you tonight. Are you ready for the top tech news stories of the week, applications, picks that you should try on your favorite gadgets, fun and lively commentary, and, of course, our very special guest interview. Up first, we have, he is a husband, father, software developer, Microsoft enthusiast, says he is blessed with his family. However, we are blessed that he is taking the time out to talk with us this evening, live from places unknown, the amazing Daniel Gary. Thanks for being on the show, sir. Hello, and good night.
Hey, good to be on here. Thanks, JJ.
Thank you again. This show would not be complete, however, without my good friend, founder, editor-in-chief of STLTechTalk.com, producer of Codecast by STLTechTalk, co-creator of STLTechChic.com, our women in technology website, the uncanny Kevin Harvell. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, everybody. Daniel, thank you for joining us this evening.
Hey, Kevin, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on.
And don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at STLTechTalk, Facebook, Google+, Instagram, Tumblr, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, or you can download our application on Windows Phone 8 and listen directly from our site as well. Also, I suggest to everybody, not just do this because you need to keep elves, lives, and fairies and all that, but go to STLTechTalk.com to keep up with our tech news, podcasts, codecast, programming code, hands-on reviews, event coverage, and so much more. And don't forget, you can interact with the show by sending us feedback to podcast@STLTechTalk.com. And if you're watching us live, you can ask us questions via the chat room, and we will do our best to answer those questions in a timely manner. Special thank yous go out tonight from JJ and Kevin to Ken, Reddit, Microsoft, Indio Techno, Amy, Oliver, Barbara Heiss, Rob, and most importantly, Trina, for the awesome work that she did with DigiGirls and everything she's done for us here at STL Tech Talk and allowing us to do everything that we've done. Plus, I want to give a shout-out to Timiko Cooler, who we're doing awesome speaker series type events throughout August. It's a lot of fun, a lot of stuff going on, so very cool. So thank you all for supporting this show in one way or another. We appreciate and thank you. Also, I wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors of the show, Heartland Realty. Go to heartlandhomesrealty.com for all your real estate needs. And Unidev. If you dream it, they can build it. Custom software, end-to-end development, beautiful web design, and creative marketing solutions. In business for the last 25 years, with 200-plus customers and 24/7 support, you will not be let down or left out on the creations of your dreams. If you want software development, content management systems, mobile development, web design, e-commerce solutions, digital marketing, and hosting, go to our website, and I'm going to show everybody who's watching this visually here. I'm going to do the full screen, bam, share, and you can just go to our site right here. You click on, right there, and then the next thing you know, you're on their site, and you're checking them out. Give them a call, 800-301-9589, or just visit our site, visit their site, watch their awesome videos and everything like that, because they are awesome and we appreciate their sponsorship of the show. So, having said that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen now. So, stop sharing this, and I'm going to pitch it to the reason why we're all here tonight. I'm going to give it back to Daniel. What got you first started in technology, sir?
Well, JJ, I can tell you, growing up in my family, my dad was a electrical mechanical engineer, so I was always around technology. I know we had a computer. Gosh, I would have been probably 5 years old when the first computer came in the house, and I was fascinated by it. And from that point on, it was, I guess it was kind of love at first sight, and I've been pursuing it ever since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, did you have a particular program or something that really was just like, man, I gotta do this and make this cool? Back then everything was all games. Everybody says games or something like that got them into it.
Yeah, and it was back then. You had the Sierra adventure games like the King's Quest or the I don't think what else there was. Space Quest, that was a big one. Sure. Those really got me hooked into the whole idea, I guess, of technology in general. When I was little, that's what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to build games. It's going to be fun. And I guess I kind of lost that interest later on and got more into the applications development. For me, it's all about building applications that people want to use. I want to build an app that when somebody uses it, they enjoy using it, they like it, they're going to want to launch the app throughout the day because it's fun for them to use. They enjoy it. And I like hearing the feedback from a user of, this is what I like, this is what I love, this works great for me. So yeah, that's generally where I'm coming from.
Right. Now, we know you've worked on Instance for Windows Phone, which is, an Instagram client. It was one of the first Instagram clients on the Windows Phone platform. What is it that gets you to decide what kind of app you want to make or create on the Windows Phone platform?
I mean, previously it was, if I looked around my family and I saw they were missing out on the experience because I've kind of pushed Windows Phone on everybody in my family.
Right.
I kind of had that guilt factor of, they're missing out on an app. I need to, if I can, I'm going to help them with that and get them something that works. I'll say that, certainly for Instagram, there was some monetary motivation there, and I knew that this was going to be a huge thing that people wanted. And now that's still kind of true in that I'm pursuing it for business purposes. But yeah, I want to build apps that are used daily. I want it to be something that kind of has mass market appeal. So I look for that opportunity where there's a lot of desire for an app, and I want to fill that gap.
Nice. I know you've been to St. Louis Days of .NET. You've probably been to numerous other conferences, around the country that, that I just can't think of off the top of my head right now. What is it that that makes you want to speak at these conferences? And tell us about the session that you did at last year's Days of .NET about taking Android apps and breaking them down.
So I've done a couple presentations, mostly all about that. That was kind of my approach for a long time, was just taking these Android apps apart, decompiling them, getting the source code, how did it work, how can I rebuild this for Windows Phone. There was an issue with it, and it still exists. You can actually decompile Android apps and essentially using Java code that was used to build it. And Java is pretty, it's very comparable to C#, so it's, a lot of the time it was a one-to-one translation. It was really, I wanted to put that out there as, there's other people could do this too, and hopefully just to try to motivate some people at home that want to make some spare money in the Windows Phone market. There's an easy way to do it. Here's kind of the framework of how I did it. And that's what I did at St. Louis Days about that. And I will say, of the places I've spoken, that was by far my favorite. I really enjoyed being at St. Louis Days.net. If anybody's listening, considering going, I would highly suggest it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, hopefully you'll
Plus
be able
you got
to
to
make
see
it back
us
this year.
Exactly. I got to hang out with you guys.
Yeah. And we're doing some pre-compiler stuff. So everybody go.
That's what I heard. I'm excited.
I'm serious. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a party. So what would you say right now to someone who is looking to deconstruct an app? Would you tell them to approach it from a UI perspective, like map out, if this happens, then that, or whatever the case may be, is just to see how the structure of the program works, or would you say just to go in and try to come up with some template that is similar, like back-end services? How would you tell somebody to approach that?
So it's interesting because it's something that I've hired a guy recently to work with me. We're building some first-party apps, and it's been some of the questions we've had to ask is what's our approach going to be to build these apps? Because you don't just want to go through somebody else's code and just strictly port it directly to C# or whatever. You want to make sure it's custom built for Windows Phone and still have all those features. So what we've kind of done is take the agile approach, which is you come up with these user stories. So a user has a task. I want to be able to upload a picture to Instagram. What's my story on how I go through that process? And then you kind of chart that out as a however you want to, as a kind of workflow diagram or something. And then you build and that's how we've done it. We've looked and said, okay, what API calls are going to be necessary to make that happen? Implement those. Okay, what do we think the user interface ought to look like at each step along the way? Okay, build those. Okay, now we've got both of those components together. Let's tie it all together, run through that, make sure that's feature complete, then move on to the next user story, which may be, I want to find a new friend. And it's just kind of rinse and repeat.
Awesome. That's really cool. See, I ask you questions because I'm not just another pretty face. There's actually something going on back here. You're up, Kevin.
Yeah, so Daniel, what are some of your thoughts on the current state of Windows Phone development? There's been a lot of talk lately about building one app and have it work on, the Windows Phone 8, Windows 8 machines, and multiple systems. Just build it once, put it on multiple devices. What are your thoughts on all that?
So without going into too many details I can't talk about, I can tell you the Windows Phone 8.1 and Windows 8.1 universal app model, I think, has kind of ignited companies' interest in Windows, because there was never going to be Windows desktop has a great market share, but the Windows Store apps aren't as popular. The Windows tablets aren't real popular, so there was never going to be a huge drive by some of these big name companies to build a Windows tablet app and then turn around and invest a whole bunch more resources in building a Windows Phone app. Now all of a sudden you're looking at, hey, I can build a Windows Phone app, reuse 90% of my code, and have a functional app that can be used on the tablet and on a desktop, and coming soon at some point the Xbox. It's really powerful, and I've really seen, since the universal app model became available, I've seen such a huge uptick in interest. Now, I'll say I'm more excited now about Windows development than I think I've ever been. I think the possibilities are really growing, and I think we're going to start seeing a lot of growth based around momentum. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Yeah, really absolutely. Good. I have a question. I know it's not on the list, and I'm notorious for that, so I apologize.
That's okay.
But
That's okay.
The tool set that, so I'm not going to ask you what you use, but I just ask the question. Do you feel like I saw one, I think it's called App Method, and then I saw another one like the Phone Gap, and I saw a Xamarin Tools. Where would you say that is the biggest interest right now, and do you think it's warranted, or what kind of stuff do you find yourself using? I mean, because
So you're talking about just for cross-platform development, so
right? Because
Android plus iOS or whatever.
Because right now in the Windows Phone side and the Windows side really is they're going up against Microsoft's going up against Apple and Android. So it's really about getting those developers, and talking with people close to Microsoft. And people that I know even have changed their focus to talk more about developer tools and developers instead of apps, right? They don't necessarily want the apps, they just want the developers to start using their developer tools. So that's kind of interesting, because I guess their hope is, and like I said, this is just from a couple of people who work close with that I know, I guess their hope is that they'll use Visual Studios and things that are connected to Visual Studios to create these applications. Now, that's why I was kind of asking you, what would you say? And I'm not saying advertise for somebody, but what would you say?
No. If you look at kind of the different approaches all these different people take, you look at Phone Gap. I hadn't heard the other one you mentioned, but a lot of these people are doing essentially web wrappers or really simplistic UI. I don't think that's a great approach to take. When you do that, you kind of negate some of the features of the platform that you're developing for. Okay. Xamarin, by far, is the most exciting thing I think I've seen in a while. We've been looking at getting a Xamarin license here. There's been some interest in some of the apps that we build. Maybe taking over the Android app as well as part of that, which would be pretty exciting.
Right.
So Xamarin's definitely something we're exploring, and I would say it's the most exciting cross-platform toolkit that's out there.
And I know you probably hear this all the time, but a lot of companies, some companies think that it's okay to have that wrapper and say, you know what, even though it's not a native application, it's still considered an application. But it sounds like you would disagree with that methodology.
Well, I mean, there's a time and place for every tool. Okay. But yeah, I'm going to say from my perspective, yeah, you need a native app.
I need the work, JJ.
And you need to rebuild it. So yeah.
Right. So well, yeah, I think the Xamarin, especially their actually, and I still need to sign up for this, Kevin. I apologize. We'll do it after the show. But Xamarin's offering that deal where if you have 5 or less employees, that you can do $25 a month. Yeah. So we're all over that. That's going to be like, a thing that I do for who knows how long, but that's the hottest thing that I'm seeing. So I was just curious to see if you have heard of any other things that popped up. And this I don't know, check it out. It's called App Method. It's all one word. And tell me what you think of it sometime. Just hit me back and let me know. But I kind of wondered if it's legit, because supposedly you're supposed to be able to write to a whole bunch of different things, but and it's a lot like Xamarin. But
hey, let me. One of the things you mentioned was Xamarin's pricing, and I do want to comment. If they would, their pricing so outrageously high right now. I feel like
$1,000. It's $1,000
a year.
Yeah, a year.
And I just feel like they could cut that back, or even offer them some kind of monthly plan. Because man, putting $1,000 investment up front's a bunch.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I just there are so many people I know that kind of feel that way. I feel like they would make up for whatever that revenue cost is in new subscribers. Like if they lowered it. So anyway,
I wholeheartedly
one of my big
agree.
gripes about it. So,
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I wonder if it's just they're just doing that because they know that they can do that right now, and they know that they can make the money off of it. And then once competition comes from other possible, and it's not going to be awesome, but it's the same model with Google and Android, right? It's free. So once a whole bunch of free tools start popping up, then I think that's when they're going to be like, yeah, all right, we'll go ahead and do a subscription model. But if you're listening, Xamarin, which I know you are, don't forget, we're always looking to try out your IDEs and stuff. So feel free to hook us up with some licenses or whatever. But they're also they are having an event coming up soon. So who knows? They may make a couple of announcements then, and hopefully we're going to be there for that. So the next question that I have, I'll just go right into it, Kevin. Sorry, but what would you say to people who are like Windows Phone detractors? Because obviously a large our listener base are the Android and iOS and stuff like that. But man, we have a very vibrant Windows Phone community. What would you say to some of those Windows Phone detractors?
Their Windows Phone 8.1 obviously went a long way to fill a lot of the gaps that were missing in the platform. It made it feel a lot more like a cohesive, especially when you pair it with Windows 8.1 desktop.
Right.
I will say there's still a lot of areas that Windows, on the developer side,
okay,
that Windows Phone 8.1 still doesn't meet everyday developer needs. I mean, there are some features, and I've talked about them on Twitter occasionally. Give developers access to notifications. Give developers access to an app list so you can tell what apps are. I mean, these are things that, yes, there are some privacy risks, but they manage to get away with it on Android. They manage to get away with it on iOS. It's time for Microsoft to allow developers on Windows Phone to have the same capabilities. Let us build the apps. You look at an app like If This, Then That, whatever that is, kind of that phone automation app. You can't build it on Windows Phone. You have to have access to the incoming notifications to it.
Right.
And that's one of those apps I kind of pursued and wanted to kind of make contact and tried to get them to consider it. And once we got into kind of the nuts and bolts how it was going to work, we couldn't do it. And there's been several of those that have come up, and I've kind of harped and fought. And I know the Windows Phone 8.1 update kind of fixed some of the notification issues, so OEMs like Pebble or Samsung or somebody like that could have access to the notifications. But everyday developers, me and you, we don't have access to it. And I just, that's a problem.
That is a problem. Do you see that changing? I mean, did you get the feeling that it was going to change, or do you think that that's still going to be a thing?
I feel like it will change. I don't know how quickly. I would be surprised. I'm going to write this down,
Daniel. How many people do I need to have write into Microsoft? Just let me know, and I'll make it happen.
Everyone in St. Louis, all of them.
Okay.
If you look, they had this user voice thing going around for missing APIs on the platform. The number one requested thing is notifications access.
Notification access.
And it's not even close. It's like got 8,000 votes. The next one has like 4,000 votes. And I will say that was my suggestion. I put the notifications access on. But the fact that when I bring it up with some people at Microsoft, I get pushback on, well, you guys don't need access to that. Look at how many developers have ideas for apps that want access to that. And I just wish Microsoft did a better job of listening to that and responding to it.
Yeah. Maybe as the platform evolves, maybe that'll.
And from what I've heard, that will be the case. But it seems like that's what we're always waiting for is, okay, the next release, Microsoft's going to solve this problem. The next release, Microsoft's going to solve this problem.
Yeah, it's like a Game of Thrones thing. It's like, you know what? I'm done. Not spending any more time on this. They're either coming or they're not.
And I don't want to come across. I do get on my soapbox about the developer stuff. From the user-facing side, I'll say my wife uses it. And yes, for a while there was the app gap issue, and there's still a couple things that are going to come up. But by and large, the apps are there. The experience is great. Performance is fantastic.
I use your app every day.
Well, I don't use it anymore. I don't do Instagram. I just wrote the app. But when it's just got such a bad. It's almost like Microsoft that just has this stigma attached to them right now, and they're doing a good job of shaking it. And they're getting a lot more momentum going. But man, for a while, it was everything they did, everything was just ripping on them.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of. I think that's kind of fading away now.
Good. That's good. Yeah, we definitely like hearing that.
What sorts of apps are you looking at tackling possibly in the future? You know, you've said that you've added a couple of members to your development team and you've started your own separate studio per se. What are you looking at tackle in the future?
Okay, so we've got several contracts. I can't name any names. I can tell you one of them is a Bluetooth LED fitness tracker, which would be cool.
Sweet.
Yep, that one will be coming relatively soon. We have a business communications tool we're working on that's very popular. What else I can talk about?
Oh my God! Before you answer,
okay.
So if Microsoft comes out with a wearable device,
sure,
is that going to be a problem with the notifications?
No, so Windows Phone, the latest update, like there was this fall update for Windows Phone 8.1, I think it's called Update 1 or GDR1, whatever they called it.
Right.
Provided OEMs, or they actually have what's called an RPAL list, which is Remote Procedure Allow list, and it gives certain developers can have access to that, and it's got to be some kind of Microsoft approved deal. And so just everyday developers just don't have access to it, but Microsoft does. OEMs do, and then third-party hardware manufacturers like Pebble. I think who else makes smartwatches? I don't know.
Samsung, LG.
Sure. So no, most of the big name people have access to it, but if I wanted to write an app that had access to notifications, can't do it, but they can. So I just kind of have a problem with Microsoft's thought process there.
Right. Only allowing big-time companies and not the.
Yeah, I mean, not that, obviously you're going to have the apps out there that try to take advantage of it, but Android has those too, and iOS has those too. Let us, let the end user decide, look, this app looks kind of shady and it wants permission for my notifications. No, I'm not going to install it.
Right. Are the ones that want, like, everything in your OneDrive, you're like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah, you don't need access to my OneDrive, ever.
You don't ever need access to my OneDrive. Yes. No. Actually, you know what? I think I downloaded one of them. No. So no, go ahead. You said you were developing for stuff in the future. Please continue.
Yeah. So I have started my own studio that we're working with a lot of good people at Microsoft. Got a lot of other good name companies we're working with. Work's exploding. About to hire another developer and possibly another one on top of that. Assuming a couple more things come through.
You're a job creator, sir. No.
I feel good about it.
Yeah. You should.
It's going really well. It's exciting.
So, are you finding it more enterprise, more business, or do you have a kind of a healthy balance, or what does the jobs look like?
Right now,
obviously, without saying what they are.
Yeah, I would say right now my apps are kind of split. Probably 75% are consumer facing, and 25% are corporate or business facing, but even the business facing apps aren't, okay, this is a line of business app of, I've got to order entry. No, it's like we're using push messaging, we've got, file sharing and all this stuff. It's a really cool, in-depth app. And it's really going to be exciting when it hits the platform. So
did you take advantage of the app portal? Yeah, there's like, the CEO, Satya Nadella, was talking about this when they did the release of Office for iPad.
Sure.
It was right before they were talking about that. They were talking about this app portal hub, and essentially it was just a way for you to create like an enterprise store for just.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about, the enterprise stores and ones, but no, we haven't really messed with that much.
Okay.
Again, whatever apps we build are going to be available in the store for the end users to download. This one just happens to be a business feature-centric app.
Awesome. Kevin?
Let's see. I know we got one question in the chat, but I'm not sure if you can comment on it.
Go ahead and ask it. I'm sure I know what it's about.
Yes. Is there any word on the QuizUp client?
There is no word on the QuizUp client. I can't talk about it. I wish I could talk about it. I wish there were things to announce. There's nothing I can talk about it right now.
Right. I mean, I know all the NDAs and there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, but I know it's definitely been something you've been working on for a while.
Here's what I can say. There are things in motion. And unfortunately, I'm not the person that can drive those things any faster. There are other people that are doing that. So I promise the instant I can say anything, it's going to be everywhere as soon as I can talk.
And listeners believe that. When he says that, he means it. All right? If he could, he totally would.
Yes, because I know for one, I am definitely waiting on it. That's one thing I'm missing.
Yeah, Kevin got me. He was like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" Like we tie.
Yeah, every time we play it on Android, we tie. But no, it's such a fun game, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully some big news coming sooner than later.
I keep thinking it started in I think I made kind of contact with those guys in March, or maybe February or March was kind of when the first contact happened, and since then, it's been like every month. I'm like, okay, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen next month. It's gonna happen next month. Okay, a couple more weeks, and then I can at least say I did go out to Iceland. I did work with the equipment guys. Got to meet with them, talk about their future plans, how that apply to Windows and Windows Phone. So yeah, there are definitely plans in motion. It was a really great experience getting to meet those guys, and hopefully. Things are going to progress from that point, but there's a lot of legal issues, there's a lot of business issues involved, so as soon as I know anything, everyone's going to know about it.
Yeah, that's probably a lot of things that, average users, somewhat like us, I mean, I'm a non-developer, so I really know nothing about developing and all the legal ramifications and hoops you probably have to jump through when you're wanting to take on a big-time app such as Quizzo.
Absolutely, and one of the biggest issues is, and I guess it's going to sound conceited or whatever, they wanted to hire me to just bring me on board as, hey, you're going to be a Windows Phone developer. But at the same time, I had this going on where I'm building my own company here. I've been making all these contacts, trying to get this stuff started. Been talking to somebody about hiring them, and then they wanted me to do that, and I turned them down and said, look, I'd rather do this as a contract job, as a consulting job. I'll work with you guys open-ended as long as you want. Whatever I need to do, to deliver that to you guys, but I can't leave what I'm trying to start.
All right.
That's actually a similar story that we hear, not just on your front, but just developers in general. Getting offered these jobs, like, well, why not do it on a more consulting basis type?
Well, yeah, it's going to sound, and that it may have hurt my relationship with them. I'm not sure, but me saying, I don't want to work on one app the rest of my life. I don't want to just be a quiz up developer. I don't want to just be, an ex-developer working on this one app forever. I want to be able to, have all of these apps that I can devote my time, to different ones at different times.
Right.
Well, thanks for giving us as much information as you can on that, and thank you, Evan, for asking your question.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Sorry, I can't give you more, Evan.
I understand.
So to wrap up here, what sorts of apps are you looking at tackling in the future?
Whatever comes my way.
Okay.
I'll say right now, the way business is going, we will either have to hire some more people or turn some work away. So I will get to pick and choose a little bit, hopefully. Hey, and I am looking for some contract developers to send some work to. Got a couple people I'm trying to send some work their way. Kind of a tricky thing because I don't really know how to handle that, but it's definitely something I'm looking into.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. But it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I honestly mean that wholeheartedly. You're a really a great guy. Whatever you do, I'll be one of the first to download it going forward, and just all that kind of stuff. I'm just a big fan of yours. We're totally going to keep everything that you do up and in front, and whatever happens, whatever you have stuff come out in the future, we would love to showcase it and be a part of the conversation about it, because you definitely deserve it.
Well, thanks, JJ. I really appreciate that.
And really hope you get to make it to this year's Days of .NET.
I'm going to try to. I'm working towards it, so hopefully I'll be there.
Good. Bring a couple of your team members with you too.
We might both make a trip up there for now.
Yeah, for sure. We'll do the lunch thing.
There we go.
Rich Dunbar.
Yep. Yeah, I talked to Rich a couple weeks ago, and he said he was going to try to make it to St. Louis Days.net this year. And he was pressuring me to go, so I think I'm going to try to be there.
Good. Awesome. We would love to have you.
Guys.
Well, we know that you're on a time crunch, so we just wanted to say thank you so much. So if our listeners want to find out more about what you're doing specifically, where can they do that at?
Twitter is probably the best place. That's at Daniel Gary, exactly like it sounds. I generally just post updates there. There will be some announcements as far as company and my professional work more. We'll have a separate Twitter account and a website and all that stuff. That's kind of coming down the line. So yeah, that's probably the best place for it.
When they come out with that wearable, I'm totally blowing up your Twitter. I'm just, Daniel, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this?
You will know about it. I'll make sure to let you know which one it is. But it will be coming, I guess, about a month from now. You'll see it.
Cool. Sweet.
Cool.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. Well, again, thank you so much for being on. Anytime you want to talk to us, the door is always open. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, and say hello to the family, and take care. From STL Tech to you.
Will do. Thank you, guys. Thanks for your drinking.
Bye, Daniel.
You have a great day.
You too. Awesome.
God, such a nice guy.
I know. He is.
God, I hate that.
I know.
I hate that. You know, you're sitting there, you're like, the world's a terrible place. But then the nice guy comes along like him, and he's 29. Yeah, he's got two kids, Jack and Grace. I mean, come on, how more American is that, Jack and Grace, for kids? But the show is still going on, folks. The show is still going on, and Kevin and I are here, and we are collectively just as nice as he is. I need to steal some of Kevin's soul and make me as nice as Daniel is, but we can, between the two of us, make it work. Let's go ahead and hop right into the news rundown. Kevin, tell us why the sky is not falling.
No, the sky, there's been a lot of talk here lately, as we mentioned on a recent episode of the STLTechTalk podcast, about Facebook taking the messenger portion and pushing users towards downloading a separate Facebook Messenger app if they wanted to continue messaging their Facebook friends. We discussed it recently. But within the last week or so, there's been a lot of, mass hysteria, as you would say, whether it's on Facebook or on Twitter. Everybody's talking about these permissions. And I guess because it's associated with the Facebook name, people are looking at these permissions and going, oh my God, I don't want Facebook having access to my camera or to the microphone or to anything else. When in fact, if you look at, if you were to install a new texting app, it's going to ask for pretty much the exact same permissions. Why? Because if you want to send somebody a picture via text, it needs to access your camera to take the picture. And so I did a write-up on it just the other night. So everybody head over to STLTechTalk.com and look up the sky is not falling with Facebook Messenger permissions. And we kind of broke it down, explain what the permissions are and how I install it on my Android and Windows Phone devices. Unfortunately, I don't have an iPhone sitting around to install it on and work through there, but it's more likely it's going to be very similar to the Android installation process. So make sure to go over there, take a look at it. Give us some feedback what you think.
For those of us watching the show, like I am right now because I have to, because I'm on it, but I would do it anyways. For those of you who are doing that, please go to our Facebook account or email us, STLTechTalk@STLTechTalk.com, because guess what? If you sign up for Charter Business, that helps us out because we're now an official referral agent. What's up? So if you want to charter business and you're in the St. Louis area, please email us or go to the Facebook, click on that post about how charter can be awesome for you. We would really appreciate it. Now back to Messenger. So Messenger, I really like it on all the platforms, to be quite honest. I'm not dissatisfied at all. I think on Android, I really like. I know they call them chat heads or whatever. Yes. And it's kind of cathartic sometimes to swipe you guys away. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like
it is. It's a weird feeling.
Yeah. You're just like You're like notification. It's like I don't want any more notifications.
Yeah. And you
if
can
I have one more
notification, if you don't want that.
I know I can.
You could just toggle.
But I kind of like. But I'm a Windows fan, so that means I'm a masochist. You have to understand. So. Speaking of that, Microsoft is actually stepping back further from their Windows 8 vision. says Tom Warren over at The Verge, and is removing the charms bar. So the charms is like that thing that you like if you're on your mouse and you go to the bottom right-hand corner, it comes up on the right-hand side, or if you barely touch the right side of your screen, just shows up. If you have no idea what it is and you didn't follow the instructions when installing Windows, but I'm not going to get into hating on you if you didn't. So they're actually talking about getting rid of that in the new Windows threshold, quote-unquote, update to Windows 9. And the charms bar, I think, works really well for touch devices. I don't know if I like this or not. I like the user interface of Windows 8. I don't like them starting to get rid of stuff that they had. I wonder what's going to replace it, because having to swipe down from the top or the bottom or hold, and that's the same equivalent to a right click. I don't know how I feel about all that. Also, some new changes that are coming are virtual desktops, which is going to be featured in Windows 9. And that's going to allow for virtual machines also as well. So just other stuff that's already kind of there is just going to be more like it was back in Windows 7. So Kevin, what do you have to say about all these changes? I can't hear a word you're saying.
Been a lot of talk about that this week. You know, how they're kind of, to a point, almost I don't want to say abandoning the Windows 8 design, because they're not entirely doing that. They're kind of taking the best of both worlds in a way. So yeah, you're going to get rid of the charms thing on the right side, which that is kind of confusing, especially before it went to 8.1 or the Windows 8 Update 1, whatever it was that they called it. I can't remember for sure. So I'm kind of, in a way, I'm kind of glad that, you know, they're still listening to people, but they're still kind of moving forward a little bit with what it was that they wanted to do in the first place with Windows 8. You know, you're still going to have, you know, your Metro, your modern apps, and, you know, kind of like you'll have a revamped start screen that's going to be similar with some live tiles in the start screen. So whenever you hit the little start button, you might see some live tiles down there. That's kind of been confirmed. I think Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley were talking about that on the recent Windows Weekly. So I'm really excited the fact that they're pushing a lot more resources towards the upcoming threshold. Kind of disappointed that, you know, they're going to like stop releasing major updates for Windows 8, 8.1 users, but in a way you kind of got to like push people towards, okay.
Well, the Apple model, right? I mean, the Apple model. You're either hop on or you're dead. Sorry.
Yeah. So they're just going to move forward and hope that you move along with them.
Right. So I want to kind of continue this. I know it's not another thing, but I'll make sure it's there. So Cortana is supposed to be coming as an app to Windows 9 as well, because you know, just from recent reports, this is just myself and all the readings that I've done. I'm really excited about that. The thought again, and I really get it with Microsoft and what they're trying to do. It's just you know, I don't know if it's up top or if it's just an engineering thing, but being able to write once, distribute on a tablet, a phone, a PC, Xbox, and a TV potentially, and have all those things communicate with your personal assistant is a gorgeous idea to me. That's right, and a wearable device. That's a gorgeous idea to me. And obviously it's the same idea that Apple and Android are taking to their platforms. So that's going to be cool, right? Yeah. Seeing that go forward.
I mean, that's huge. Just like Daniel was saying, you know, it's getting businesses more interested. Like, ooh, now I don't have to devote resources to 2 separate apps. We can devote resources to one and have it go out to multiple platforms.
Exactly. Absolutely.
I mean, as a business, I mean, that's a great idea to me when it comes to saving money, making sure that money is being well spent.
So you're up with your next news story, Kevin.
All right, and this is something that I saw late this afternoon. When we were last talking with Sam Sullivan, he mentioned how he got a OnePlus One Android phone that runs CyanogenMod, And this is an invite-only phone, so the only way that you can purchase this phone is if you get an invite to it, whether it's somebody that's already purchased one or you win one in some random like contest. Because OnePlus does a lot of these funky contests, and apparently this latest one, which is kind of little, can be borderline sexist and inappropriate.
It totally is
not safe for work kind of thing.
I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine saying that.
Phil Nickinson over at Android Central, they purchased 2, and they were looking for ways to give away a second one. Well, then today OnePlus comes out with this strange way for people to try to get one, and Phil Nickinson's basically like, blanket, just go ahead and comment in this, because the way that OnePlus is wanting to do it is the way they're trying to sell these phones is just stupid. Just sell the phone. Stop these crazy little.
I know. Just sell the phone. Just sell the phone.
Just sell the phone. Be done with it. And we'll link to the actual video that Phil's. It was only like 40-something seconds, so it's a nice short clip, but it was great. It was right to the point. Yep. Android Central is a great website. And
after you go to our site, it's totally okay if you go to theirs.
Right, we have no problems.
No problems.
But, yeah, I saw that, and that really, I was like, you know what, Phil, that's great. I mean, that's perfect. That's the way somebody in his position needs to voice an opinion exactly like that, because.
Well, he's a dad. He's got girls. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I know that some people are going to be like, oh, well, you're just saying that, No, anybody that knows me, anybody that knows me knows that I would straight up come out against this if there was blowback or not. I'd be like, dude, that is totally sexist. So what's going on is girls have to take pictures of themselves, and guys get to vote on their level of hotness, basically. And they have to take a picture of themselves with the OnePlus logo on them somewhere. So I mean, it's totally jacked. Just sell the friggin' phone. I mean, no one cares about these little gimmicks. In fact, they're just going to ruin everything. I mean, did they not learn anything from Microsoft in the Xbox scenario where the guy told the guy in the submarine, oh, well, then you're just going to have to buy something else? You don't do stupid crap like that. You just don't do it. And frankly, girls mean more. I mean, overall, buying power, they have more say-so, okay? So that's not a group that you want to make mad really easy. And I understand that's probably not the target market audience for this particular device. All's the same, don't do it.
Right. And, I mean, the very first promotion that OnePlus was trying to do was, have people videotape destroying their phones. So OnePlus got a lot of flack for that. And now they're wanting to do something like this. I'm like, I don't know. It just really makes me want to steer clear of that and say, you know what, the device may be good for the cost, but just because the company's morals kind of makes me want to stay away from them.
You don't want to attach yourself to that. Well, let's talk about some cool stuff that's going on in St. Louis. Yes. Chris Chadwick, the CEO of Boeing Defense, Space, and Security, is focusing on collaborating with the tech community to bring innovation to aircraft in order to edge out the competition. So, another side note is I met with the writer of this book, and I apologize again, Rick, for not saying your last name right all the time, but Rick Dury. And he writes the Entrepreneur's Bible. He actually inscribed the page for me. JJ.
Got an autograph.
Yeah.
Inscription.
Keep the tech talking. Okay, so I really like it. I liked him. I like meeting him. But we had a nice conversation about just in general the startup scene, and I was really excited just to talk to him about Accelerate STL. If you're interested in this at all, AccelerateSTL.org is actually not just in St. Louis, but it's actually in multiple cities. But one of the things that we discussed was this very interesting idea of companies. And I'm not specifically Boeing or stuff like that, but these companies in general, like GE and Boeing and all these other different kind of companies, aerospace and all that, they have projects that they have R&D in. Well, their goal, say, is let's say $100 million. Well, there's a whole bunch of $50, $60 million projects that could make 50 or 60 million, but the higher ups are like, look, we don't want to deal with these smaller ones. Here's an opportunity for people who are okay with making a couple $1,000,000, because I'm one of those people, and making that kind of money, so that it brings innovation kind of, and more so the startup and entrepreneurial side to small businesses and those startup areas such as St. Louis, and why we're such a big deal here. So it's going to be really awesome to follow everything that's happening with Accelerate St. Louis and everything that's happened here in St. Louis just in general. But I really wanted to talk about this because St. Louis has gotten some bad press. So let's talk about some positive things that are happening here. Kevin, you're up, sir.
All right, the next thing that I want to talk about is also one of your stories, so we're just going to have a nice combined conversation on this one.
Perfect.
The Business Journal, St. Louis Business Journal here in St. Louis, Brian Felt had another wonderful article talking about St. Louis coders are making more money than their Chicago counterparts, but less than the Kansas City counterparts and significantly less than in Iowa. So it sounds like coders in Iowa and Kansas City are making some pretty good money, because some coders can make some pretty good money if they've got great products.
Can you see that in the show notes, Kevin? Like, I just had to delete like a whole section because you used to.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
God,
it's
I
okay.
hate you sometimes. No, I'm totally. No, it's fine. No. This was a great article, and I'm a big fan of Brian's, and he could be mean to me one day. I still wouldn't care. I mean, I still like what he writes about.
Right.
And it's really good. It's really good stuff. But yeah, absolutely, it's very interesting. Come on, we can beat Kansas City. I mean, our football team might not be able to do it. Our baseball team can. We don't have any other sports teams.
This year they couldn't.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right.
No,
but we can do it in the tech scene, though. It's possible. It's completely possible.
Brian says the computer programmers in St. Louis make an average of $89,850 annually, which is more than Chicago, but less than Kansas City.
Right.
And of course, Silicon Valley metro area developers make the most money, which is approximately $131,000 per year.
I wonder what that happens when you take into to account that inflation, or do you take in what the cost of living is like? Excuse me, what the cost of living is like. So, very interesting, very cool story. Go to our show notes. We're gonna talk about some other things that aren't actually going to be on this show, but we definitely think that they're from now on. When you want to like catch up and you think that we are do a really good job of picking out stories, go to our website, go to this show notes, and you can actually see stories that we may not have gotten on air, but we still think that you would get something out of. So the next thing that I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit was an I-10 company that received funds from a biogenerator, and it's Healthy Me. What it does is it condenses down on people's wait times to be readmitted into the hospital, and it keeps people from being the readmission rates. I don't know why I couldn't say that for the last like 5 seconds, but I finally got it out. So really cool stuff, local story, but has ramifications on a national scale. And I kind of want to tie in another thing. The President Obama has a task force now who's in charge of making sure there's no more mess ups on the healthcare.gov situation, because there's already been enough debacle on that. Yeah. But just in general, what are your thoughts on these stories, Kevin?
I think that's pretty neat. I mean, if you can just do that within within the app and a service, and of course it being a St. Louis company, awesome. So whenever this gets rolled out, I think that's going to be really neat, because you keep seeing more hospitals allow people to check in from their home, on the website to in their waiting room, and like when they get kind of like call ahead for a restaurant in a way, but
right.
Hospital waiting room. So hopefully this works out, and that it's readmission back into the hospital helps cut that down, because that's just more expense, more insurance, et cetera, more costs, more wasted time in getting healthy.
Right.
Hopefully being able to get people healthy in the first place and making better communication with doctors and hospitals and patients.
Absolutely.
All
Now,
about it.
I also wanted to talk a little bit about Charter is moving to the cloud, which is really interesting because, again, Charter, if you want Charter, email us, STLTechTalk at STLTechTalk.com, everybody. So this is really cool. I think this is the first of many companies to have a more cloud-based approach to how they have their user interfaces, how they have portals and different stuff like that. So this was another really good article by the Biz Journal. We're big fans, and I think a lot of people will get a lot out of this particular story. But let's see here. I wanted to talk more about... No, that's actually it. That's all I wanted to talk about. Kevin, what do you have to say about more businesses moving to the cloud?
I mean, that's just seems to be the future for internet computing regardless. As you see the popularity of computers like Chromebooks gaining more and more popularity, you're not storing a lot of stuff on these Chromebooks. It's all being stored in the cloud. Or
the cell, right? Because as a developer, everyone has to be a little bit more cognizant of the fact that there's not a whole lot of room to store stuff on these devices. So it all has to be in a cloud environment.
Yeah. So I mean, like in this case, the program guide is not going to be on the box, on your cable box. Which, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've used DirecTV, I've used AT&T Uverse, I've used Charter, and sometimes navigating these guides just takes so long because
the machines suck so bad.
Yeah, the machines are not really highly computing powered devices.
Right.
So if they can kind of offset some of that performance issue, just put it up on the cloud, kind of like whenever you're browsing on an Amazon Fire unit or a Roku box or a Chromecast.
Sure.
Very similar thing.
Right.
Those are a lot more snappier experiences. And with Charter's, pretty much high-speed connections, that could make that whole browsing experience within that guide a lot more enjoyable.
Indeed. And speaking of the future, Verizon is actually doing only LTE talk phones in 2016. That is very interesting to me. Are all phones going to be going to the LTE? Or are they all going to be going to the bands? We don't know.
Yeah.
But this speaks to the future, and I think that we're going to see more stories like this. And there's going to be so it seems like it's on purpose. When I was reading the story, what I kept thinking of is when people moved from the 3G phones who didn't really want to go to 4G phones, but they had to because they had, like AT&T, for example, just offloading so many people on from the 2G and 3G onto the 4G network, so it would take some of the load off, and then they could build out, continue to build out in the future. Obviously, that increments with money that comes out of your pocket. Same way with Verizon and everybody else, but it all is moving to better communications, hopefully, and a more standardized process. So I think it's a good move. How about you?
Yeah. I also agree with that because by doing that, they can re-equip the existing towers, with stronger, antennas, per se, just to make sure that there's better coverage, more dedicated coverage, if that's the route that they choose to go. So it helps for, like I said, it frees up some spectrum. And to me, it kind of makes sense that Verizon would be one of the first companies that I know of to announce something like this, because their LTE coverage we've talked about in past episodes when we had Verizon reps on, Brenda.
Brenda and Paul. Yep.
Yeah, because it was just one thing that they're so strong with their LTE coverage in rural areas.
Yeah,
it's like almost everybody's covered with LTE.
This Sony Xperia Z2 is blazing fast. I mean, say what you want to about it overall. This thing is like it just flies.
Yeah, but network access wise, to just be anywhere, whether you're pulled over in a parking lot or you're just somewhere that don't have Wi-Fi and you don't want to tether to your phone, I mean, their coverage is everywhere.
Absolutely. Well, that ends the news rundown for this week. Thank you all for your continued support of STL Tech Talk and throwing in on your shows and everything that's happening with not only our site. So much is happening with our site. So much is happening with us in general. Thank you all very much for being a part of the process. Thank you to all of our fans and all that. We really appreciate it. Now, charities that I think you should all know about. Hopeline, a domestic violence prevention and support organization. The Women's Safe House, that's www.twsh.org. Safe Connections, that's safeconnections.org. Schumann Water Project. This project allows for people to donate their old shoes, and in exchange, this organization provides water filtration systems for bad places in the world that don't have clean water, so that they have clean water. The next thing is Hope for young adults with cancer, and that's hope4yawc.org. I suggest everybody go check that out as well to see what's going on. I really believe in charities. I believe in charitable causes. Again, with everything that's happened over the last week, I think it's good to talk about things that are positive out there. So these are positive things that are happening. Please find out more about this, and if you're interested, support that stuff. We don't get any kickbacks or anything. I'm just talking about these because I can, and I like that. Right. So our application picks of the week. Kevin, you're up first with your application pick of the week.
Yeah, I've been using a Fitbit Flex for the last week or so now on a regular basis. JJ, thank you again for doing that. So that's my app pick of the week. I sync it with my Android device, my Windows device, and so you can just simply sync that stuff no matter what. Check your sleep habits, steps, entering calories, foods you've eaten, etc., etc. Pair it up with my MyFitnessPal, and it's just a great app. It's very solid on Windows Phone. It just came out not too long ago on Windows Phone, and it's doing really good. It's doing really good on both applications, both ecosystems.
Perfect. And
it's free.
That's great. And it's free. Yeah. Why not use it? Because you need to know how much you're not doing.
All right. No. Like I had it open the other day on my 1520, and I'm just sitting there walking, and it was syncing, and I could see the steps, counting as I'm walking down the hallway. I'm like, that's kind of cool, right there in real time.
Yeah. You're like, yeah.
That's
very cool. And they do the stairs and stuff like that. Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. My picks are back-to-school picks for this week. If you notice that I have a Windows Phone, an Android, and an iOS app, so what's up? Calendar Scheduler for Windows Phone is my pick. That's free, by the way. My Homework Student Planner, all right, that's for Android. I like that a lot. The next one up is Class Schedule for School. Now, that's 99 cents, and that's on iOS. So again, the first one was Calendar Scheduler for Windows Phone. The next one was My Homework Student Planner for Android, and Class Schedule for School on iOS, and that's 99 cents.
Now I've got one quick tip for all you people out there that knows students, whether they're getting ready to go back to school
okay.
or they've just now like starting school. One quick tip to do with all, everybody's got their smartphones and stuff, all these students, have them take a picture of their schedule and set it as their lock screen photo for the first couple weeks. That way they know their schedule. They don't have to carry around that piece of paper, lose it, forget what their schedule is. They just simply look at the phone, which more often than not, they're not going to misplace that, because that's always going to be in their hand or in their pocket. They'll always know what their schedule is.
It's a good tip from the old Uncle Kevin.
Yeah. And maybe even put their locker combination on it, but I don't know about that because the wrong person might get it, and you never know.
Say and also, that about pretty much everything.
Cover up your student ID.
Cover up your student ID.
Yep, ID number.
Cover it up. Announcements of the week: we're going to be at Strange Loop. We're also going to be at St. Louis Days of .NET and other things that are happening. So follow us for all of that at STLTechTalk on Twitter, our hashtag Codecast, or at STLCodecast. That's our other show that we're going to do tomorrow night. And so thank you again to Daniel Gary for taking time out of his life to spend some time talking about Windows and stuff with us. So we really appreciate it. We can't thank you enough, and we thank you to all of our fans. We love and thank you for your support of the show. Kevin, did you have any final words for the end of this evening?
The last two things that I wanted to mention was, if you want to find out what's going on in St. Louis when it comes to technology, you would like to see everything just in like one place, go to STLTechTalk.com/calendar, and you will see all kinds of information of everything coming down the pipe, month by month, and just all listed out, links to these events and all this other stuff. So if you want to be informed on what's going on and you haven't heard us talk about it, make sure to go to that website and click on calendar, or just go to STLTechTalk.com/calendar and see it all.
It's gorgeous.
And the other thing that I want to talk about is we would love to get some more people into our push-up community on, for our social media on our website. We would love to interact with everybody out there that wants to share and just talk about all this great technology and all this wonderful stuff going on. So at the bottom of our page, it's right there at the bottom.
Right there.
You can't miss it.
It's right there at the bottom. You can't miss it. Can't miss it.
Set up, join our little community, and let's just keep talking tech.
That's right. So tonight, I will leave you all with this quote from my favorite actor: "No matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world." That's by Robin Williams. So from the entire STL Tech Talk crew, stay frosty. We're out.